Hello. I started letting everybody in because I heard you were having computer problems.
I know. I was like, this is my typical Mercury in retrograde moment, but here we are.
No problem. Well, I see people are just starting to kind of join, and I was really good. I made sure I'm wearing a t-shirt and I do have shorts on, so I'm ready.
Great. Great. Perfect.
I've got my tools going on.
Great. I've got everything. I've got my products
All
here,
right.
which I already applied because that's my other thing is I'm like, I don't need to apply skincare for everyone.
No, absolutely. And it's so funny because I was like, I'm bringing my glasses down so I can show everybody my favorite. Like, guys, these these two gems are my life. They're part of my like everyday self-care ritual. And what I realized is I need it so badly for my jaw. I didn't realize how much I clenched until I started to really use it. And you know what, Gianna? I'm really using it for my back these days.
Oh yeah. And if you haven't already, the wand, I've been meaning to do a tutorial on the wand on the foot, like the bottom of the foot.
What?
I know you can really like get into your whole foot, and I keep meaning to do that. I'm gonna write it down this time so I do that
Oh
because
my gosh. Well, I see people are starting to join us. So for those of you who don't, I mean, you know what, we might as well just go right into it and people will
yeah.
join. And I'm making sure we're side to side so everybody can see. And hello, everybody. And I'm always curious, where is everybody joining us from? So let me just give you a little rundown of how the system works in case you're new to webinars via Zoom. Down at the bottom, you will see there's a chat. You can keep that chat open. You can chat to Gianna and I. I see people are already chatting. I see, okay, Margarita's from San Francisco. So you can chat to us all. You can just chat to Gianna and I. There's also a Q&A button. So if you have questions, you can ask questions and we will be answering them throughout the evening. Portland, Oregon. All right, Charlotte, fantastic. I hope everybody's keeping warm. We got more snow today. I'm in New York. I'm, I, I'm, I'm done. I'm ready to join Elizabeth. I'm ready to go to Hawaii because I can't do this anymore. I'm kind of done with it. So guys, if you have any questions throughout this, my team, the Wildling team is standing by. So you can absolutely, see Paige is already doing it. I love it. Paige, you're on it. So they will start answering any questions and making sure that we're seeing it as well. Well, for those of you who don't know who we are, I'm Indy Lee. I'm the founder CEO of Indy Lee. We're a clean skincare line. I think most of you probably know that's who I am, but Gianna, why don't you tell everybody a little about you? You are the star, and the tools are the star of the show tonight.
I am Gianna Della Torre. I'm one of 3 co-founders of Wildling. And we just really felt passionate about bringing forward the tradition of gua sha, which is a traditional Chinese medicine technique, forward to make it accessible and, add our own twist to the gua sha practice. I'm an acupuncturist. I also come from a background of being a body worker. I taught yoga for 10 years. And I was telling Indy yesterday, this aura collection that we're sharing, which consists of the aura stone and our aura sweeper, our dry brush. It really is like this vision that I've had for a really long time of bringing like body care into skincare, like really taking care of our whole skin, because in Chinese medicine, the skin relates to the lung. And it's like, our lung like receives the outside environment so readily through the air that we breathe. And this is very much like reflected in our skin organ. And so I think it's important to take care of, you said it so beautifully, Indy, yesterday. It's like not just like skincare from here to here, but skincare on your whole body. And the way that like the different layers of fascia and skin and connective tissue relate to our overall health, the health of our meridians, and also how we feel. So thank you so much for having me. I love collaborating with Indy Lee. I love all of your products, and it's just been so fun to
I
share it.
know. I cannot wait till like the skies open up truly again and we are able to be in person and do things like this. I was so fortunate because I met Gianna at a Credo event and I actually took her class and I became obsessed. And then I realized I didn't have one for travel. So now I actually have one of these packed in my travel bags at all time. And I just went and did college visiting with my daughter. Tried doing social distance college visits. That's like a drive through. And my daughter's like, you have your gua sha? I'm like, yeah, I don't leave home without it. So you are always with me. And you are so right. For me, it's not just this. This is such a small amount. And if we're saying, and we know that your skin is one of your largest organs, we cannot just focus on this roughly 3%. We need to take care of our entire body. And for me, this isn't just skincare, this is overall health and well being. And that's what I really love about your tools. You're teaching people how to take care of themselves and connect with their body in a way they might not have thought and realize feeling the tension in your body can mean different things. So I am so excited to do this. So
Great.
I have my products here as well. How do you want to start so everybody can learn what these are about? What's the first step we should be doing?
Well, I'll just go through, like, if I were to do this whole system, like what order I would do it in.
Fantastic.
And then you can tell us a little bit about the products and that you told today. So with the dry brushing, that's something that typically, and dry brushing, by the way, is like really common through many cultures. Scandinavian culture, American culture, Japanese culture. There's like cultures I'm going to forget, so I'm not going to try to list them all. But like the big takeaway is that this is a tradition that has been known throughout time to be beneficial, and up until like the modern day, it's like been getting a lot of attention. Dry brushing, the lymphatic system has been a bigger part of the conversation. So you would ideally start with dry brushing on dry, clean skin, product-free skin before a shower. And this really activates the skin and it exfoliates the skin, and it starts the process of activating the lymphatic system, because you're effectively like sweeping everything towards the trunk, towards the lymph nodes. And I should just say the lymphatic system really carries any sort of like waste material out of the cells and specifically out of the skin. So it's really good detoxifying practice. And so then I would shower. And then before I used the Orasone and did gua sha, I would apply oil.
Yes.
It's beautiful oil, which is so lovely, by the way. I just love it.
Thank you.
And I'm like a diehard body oil person.
You and me both. I'm obsessed with our body oils, obviously, but the energized one is the one I go for time and time again because of the bergamot, because of the eucalyptus. I love combining, and we typically don't scent our products for the sake of scenting. It's because there's benefits to the botanicals that we're using, but with the wellness products, we're using the properties of aromatherapy to couple into the product. So there's a reason. So you've got the eucalyptus, the bergamot. This is my ride. I bring this with me as well in travel side. I put it in decanted because this is kind of big to bring with me when I do travel. But I have to tell you, I have been a dry brusher, I would say, for 5 or 6 years. I remember going to a spa back when we were able to travel and do fun things like that. And I have rheumatoid arthritis, and I said, what can I do? And someone said, recommend using dry brushing. And actually it's probably now closer to 8 years ago. So I've been dry brushing for years, but I don't know what it is about yours, but it is so different. I don't know if it's the handle, but the experience is so different. So let's talk about how we do this, because before we put on oils, etc.
Yeah. Let's talk about how you do the dry brushing. So our dry brush, when it comes in out of the package, it will break in some. So I tell people who are like, this is like rough. Like, I'm like, well, massage your dry brush. It kind of softens the bristles. Even if you moisten the bristles a little bit, they'll become more flexible because you're really breaking it in. And if you've used this product, then you know it's like it softens over time and it just becomes like, I feel like this one's like my BFF. So I'll just walk you guys through a little bit of the dry brushing. Excuse the disrobing. I just feel like it's better to show on the body. So
I am not going to be disrobing any further than this. I want everybody to feel comfortable, not get frightened by this. I do not look like her. So I'm going to keep on my t-shirt and my shorts.
I'm here taking one for the team because I feel like it's so important to show people that are really curious. So I start dry brushing from the bottom up. So I start.
Oh, she is good. She's in a bathing suit. I'm like, okay, well, I'll put on shorts. I'm doing this with you. I'm taking one for the team on that.
Yeah, it's, you know what? It's like whatever works here. So you're going to start dry brushing with, I even like dry brush over my foot, and I will work in these long strokes, 2 to 3 strokes in each area, up the leg. Notice I'm going up the leg towards the heart and then coming onto the thigh. You kind of like get the idea. I'm working up the leg systematically, firm pressure, taking your time, doing like 2 to 3 strokes. And any area, I'm sure you relate to this, any area that you've missed with your dry brush, your body will tell you, because your whole body will start to tingle as a result. Like as soon as you pass over some part of your body, it activates in this way. And so as we're drawing your dry brushing, the lymph nodes are here in the groin. Apologies for the crotch shot, but like anatomy, right?
I will not be doing that shot for you all.
No, I don't recommend doing that shot. But, from an anatomical perspective, it's like sort of sweeping towards these lymph nodes. So you want to think about just like working towards this area of the body, and then even, up the back of the leg.
Yeah.
And then you'll do the other side. My left leg is now jealous because I'm not going to demonstrate that side, but you just systematically sweep up again, like 2, 3, 5 strokes in each area. I would say like 5 strokes max. And then after I've done all of my legs, I will, all 2 of my legs, then you'll start working up the arm. So I like to do the hand, nice like exfoliation on the hand, and then work all the way up the arm.
I love, personally, guys, it's like so many of us love to get our back scratch. It's like you're scratching your back, but like your entire body.
Exactly. And again, like the lymphatic system, it's a very superficial system. So if you've ever had lymphatic massage, it's actually really gentle. And so even this like gentle surface sweeping is good at activating that fluid and that flow. One thing I didn't mention is that the lymphatic system does not pump itself. So the lymphatic system relies on our movement. It relies on, like exercise is really good for moving the lymphatic system. That's why we get like all this TLC on the lymphatic system lately, is because it's not going to like move itself. And in a year where we've been like really stagnant, not all of us necessarily, but it's like been easier to stay put, emotionally stagnant and like energetically stagnant, maybe like sitting in like the wrong work chair because you're not at your office. Like there's so many things that can contribute to this stagnation. So this just helps get things moving. So even if you're not exercising in the day, if you dry brush, you're going to feel this activation that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise. So I think it's important to mention that. So
my whole body already feels like tingly in the best way.
Yeah, it really does.
I dry brush at night. Is there a better time to dry brush? I do it every night.
Yeah, we get that question a lot as far as like AM or PM. And I think that like with self-care, it matters so little what time. And it's so much more important, nights are probably a time when it's easier for you to like relax and slow down. I'm the same way. In the morning, I feel like I hit the ground running, and it probably would stress me out to try to like add self-care practices.
That's it. Like I do spend time in the morning, obviously with my facial care, but I don't sit there. Like when I'm using my gua sha tools, I'm kind of like going through not as much as I should, to be honest, but at night is when I don't know. It's like this signal that there's no rush, there's no agenda, there's no place I have to be. I'm taking in that time just for me and connecting with
Yeah.
myself. And it's a great signal to like, then I go and meditate or I'm going to sleep, etc. But okay, good. So it's okay that I'm dry brushing at night. There's no negative.
Totally. And that goes for all of the gua sha practices. I mean, I think sometimes, when you're doing facial gua sha and you're like, I have a Zoom meeting that I need to look great for. It's like, yeah, it's going to help you do it the night before or the morning of, like, or,
Right.
before makeup application. But aside from that, like, unless you're super sensitive and you feel like so energized and jacked after doing it, I would
do
say,
right now. I have to tell you, I feel so much. This is going to sound so weird, and maybe you can tell me why. I'll be honest. I made I was telling Paige before we started this, I made the fatal mistake of having caffeine. I'm decaf always. And by accident, I ordered this beautiful beetroot cocoa latte, but forgot to say decaf. And so my stomach was sort of like agitated. I don't have that right now. Literally before we started, and now I feel so much better. So it's so interesting.
It is. Well, it's like, there's all of these layers of it. You're activating the meridians, you're activating, I always feel like, oh, I've like moved something in my whole body when I do these practices. So, back to kind of like going through the routine so I don't get like too distracted. You're going to do your limbs first.
Okay.
And you're going to go towards your heart. So I showed you the crotch shot, the lymphatic center in the groin, which is where you have like your lymph nodes. And that's where the lymph nodes will drain into the rest of the body. And for your face, you have all the lymph nodes in the neck. And we're not really going to dry brush our face, obviously, but just for a reference point, obviously we have the lymph nodes in the neck and then all these lymph nodes in the armpit. And which is why I always stress it's important also to like dry brush over the breasts, because it's like, this is such an important area. The breasts don't get enough love. I'll show you like the gua sha we can do over that area too, just to make sure that you're also clearing out the lymphatic system. This can be a stagnant area because of like bras.
Yeah, I never thought of that. And I've always wanted to know how to properly dry brush and gua sha like my body, because I'm always like, which way? So this is going to be great. Okay, so we did our arms.
So we did the arms, and then for the chest, I just like to go, you're going to work towards the armpit, however you work, right? Okay. And of course, I've got like a bra on, so you'll have to use
and we're going to keep this PG, friends. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going towards the armpit. Okay. And then we actually follow the flow of digestion.
Okay.
So up on the right, down on the left. Okay. So up on the right, down on the left, and you kind of work towards the navel. So on the stomach, we like to follow the flow of digestion, and then it gets a little awkward when you get to your back.
Yeah, that's like, how do you do that?
I know. And it's kind of like the answer for me is like, you do your best, right?
Okay.
It's like, for some people, it's more comfortable to work from like the mid back down, right? And for other people, it's going to feel better to go like mid back up. So you kind of do your best. So if you did it on one side, try to do it on the other, mid back down. And then you can even like sweep around towards lymphatic centers. But just kind of making sure that you're activating like those areas. I like to think about going like down from the mid back and then from the neck down to the shoulder. Similar with what you would do if you were using like gua sha on the neck, like you would go down.
Got it. And by the way, someone just asked, where do you get this? Wildling.com. I just put it in the chat. You can get all their absolutely no problem, Susan. And I mean, we're going through this to tell you and explain the benefits, but I can tell you, for me, it doesn't take long to do this. It's probably 3 or 4 minutes that I do it for the whole body.
Exactly. And we do have a discount code.
Yes.
I want to say that we'll put them
in there. Yeah. And Paige can put that at the end. Absolutely.
Yeah. We'll make sure that we have a discount code to offer for 10% off. I don't want to like say the wrong one. I can look at
don't worry, Paige, if you can put the discount codes in, she'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. Because we're doing discount codes on both sites. So no problem. And I am recording this, everybody. It will be up on YouTube. We will put a link to it on Facebook, because I think this is so important for people to understand for their own well-being. That's why I think this is just such a treat to have you. Okay, so now we've done
Yeah.
this.
So now we've done the dry brushing. Quick recap is that, ideally before the shower, up the limbs, and then, up on the right, down on the left on your abdomen, sweeping over the breasts towards the armpit, sweeping, doing your best to get through the back. And then you will apply your beautiful oil.
And just for you guys to know what I do this I do this before I shower, just like she says, and it's so great because you're also exfoliating your skin, right? So don't forget, just like the skin on your face, your body is basically, the cells are turning over every 21 to 30 something days, depending on your age. So that's why it's also so important. Okay, so now I'm playing my oils.
Yes, putting the oils,
moisturizing up.
Can't get enough of. By the way, my husband steals all the Revitalize. He steals it all. All the Revitalize you've ever sent, he steals.
Well, we'll be happy to send him more.
Yeah, he's obsessed. So it's like both of us have rave reviews.
And for me, like what I love is because you have a little one at home too.
I do.
Mine are not little. I think of them little. They're 20, 17, and 9. That's little for me because I'm only 20. So how's that possible? But I love that even the body washes that we have, and we have the body wash, the Energized Body Wash, which you can't see, which is the accompanying scent to but they're safe for kids too. Like we have to think about, like, if people are like, oh, does body washes and things really count? And I say to them, think about it, you're in the shower, right? And then you're putting this all over your body. Like, yes, your body wash matters.
I know, it really does. It really does. And it's like all of those things that, build up over time matter so much when they're young. And I just love being in clean beauty because I'm like, I don't think twice about putting any of my products in my baby.
No, it's that's what's so important.
Yeah, exactly.
So much more. I'm gonna have to. Oh my God, I got all the oil all over my floor. Well,
yeah, it's okay. Don't sweat.
But my wood is looking fantastic right now.
Okay, so now we've applied oil and we are going to turn to the Aura Stone. So what makes this Gua Sha stone different? I mean, it was funny. I was telling my team, I'm like, you will never see this edge on another Gua Sha tool. And of course, since we started making it, we're seeing that edge on.
Wow.
But
it is the highest form of flattery.
It is. I take it as a compliment. But this edge is really great for smoothing fascia. And what does that mean? Fascia is connective tissue, and the connective tissue kind of binds between the layers of skin, between the muscle, between the fat layers of the skin, and into the deeper layers of the tissue. And so that can cause bunching. And typically cellulite isn't actually about fat, it's about fascia and the way that the fascia binds. And so what I notice personally is that the areas in my body where I tend to have more cellulite, especially on my T-band, is also where I tend to have more pain. So this is where the fascia is more bound. And so that's what this edge is really good for.
I did not know
that. Good for breaking up the fascia adhesions in the body. And one note on body gua sha is that it can cause bruising. And gua sha actually translates as scraping sand in Mandarin. And that means that we will never do this on the face, but when you scrape the body, it can bring these little red dots to the surface that look a little bit like sand. And that's very typical of gua sha. It's never an issue, but this wavy edge goes even further. So you're not just maybe going to get the little red dots. Sometimes you can actually get some deep bruising, because what you're doing is you're breaking up those adhesions that kind of hold the tissue in these bound positions.
I'm ready. So, I want, who doesn't want to break up their cellulite? I've been just using this edge because I wasn't sure how to do it. So I'm excited.
Yeah. So
I thought it was for holding. So
I say that because I think, we get people writing them in I bruise, is that normal? And then for the type A's out there, people who are going more is more, you can create more bruising, but know that you can always dial down that by using less pressure, when I'm going for it, I'm conscious that I'm going for it because it feels a little bit uncomfortable when you're working through the fascia, but like hurts in a good way.
Yeah, it's sort of like when you do the rollers, right? On
Totally. Exactly. Exactly. That's also working on the fascia. You're like, ooh, I'm getting in there and I feel like I need this, but like
yeah.
hurts a little bit. So just like with the dry brushing, I start from the legs up. So
Okay.
I'll
I'm
show
going
you
in.
how I use it. And there's a little bit of like freedom to do what feels good for you. I'm in my acupuncture clinic now. So that's like,
I was like, ooh.
So I start with this little U edge
Uh-huh.
on the calf because it's like it hugs, you know, it really
Yeah,
like
it's
hugs through the
perfect.
ankle. It's good for like the smaller parts of the body. And I'm using, unlike facial gua sha, I'm using firm pressure.
I was literally going to ask how many strokes and how much pressure.
Yeah, so firm pressure. And for this, it can feel like a massage. Like it can feel like as deep tissue massage as you want to make it.
Okay.
And so I'm working all the way around. And then for like the back of the calf, like sometimes I like to then switch to this wavy edge
Uh-huh.
and just, and you can see, maybe you can't see because the light's not,
I can.
but you can see it's starting to get like kind of red, but it
Yeah.
feels so good, especially when I'm sore. And then I would work.
So the movement is very similar to that of the brush. You're just applying different type of pressure.
Exactly. And I'm going the same direction.
Yep, I noticed that.
Yeah. So for my thigh here, where this is like the pain spot for me, and also where I notice that the skin tends to be most uneven, I like to even use like two hands. I'm using this wavy edge here.
Uh-huh.
And I just I designed the wavy edge for the thigh. So I love to get like the thigh, the hamstring. And if I'm really like, okay, I'm going to get into my problem area, I might even do like 30 strokes,
Got it.
40, 50 strokes in one area because it's almost like I'm working it out and my body will tell me when to stop. So, you know, when you're like, okay, I'm done with that spot, you can like move on. But this is definitely where I need it the most. I just noticed my legs get most sore here.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting really affects me here.
Well, that's just it. Think about it, everybody. We're sitting at our desks for hours on end. And I mean, at least if you're in the Northeast, you're certainly not doing too much exercise outside.
Yeah, exactly. And so then you can really work through like the butt, you know, and the hamstring. And so
don't worry, I'm not going to be showing you everybody me doing that. Like
this little edge here, this little comb edge.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what is that for?
It's good for like surface repair. And it's also, it's like, if you use the wavy edge, I encourage people to experiment because if you use the wavy edge and then switch to like the comb edge or switch to the smooth edge, it's a completely different sensation. So
yeah,
it's just kind of like pick like your favorite. And also it's nice to use all three and just kind of like feel what feels better in different places. Like I think sometimes I get stuck with like just wavy edge. And when I switch, I'm like, oh my gosh, like the other edges just apply different pressure.
What I can't believe, and I cannot wait for everybody to try this, is you can actually feel the difference afterwards, before and after. It's pretty insane.
And it's funny because I just like did my right leg and my left leg is like, please.
Yeah, it's so interesting. So you would apply, so this is the same, exactly the same thing, how you would do the dry brush. You're just going in, you're probably going over more times than you with the dry brush because that's more sweeping, where this is really breaking it up.
Yeah, this is the massage portion of the show. And it's really about like what you were saying before, like getting in touch even more so than facial gua sha, because we're like, be gentle. Like it's so important to be gentle. It's so important to like be mindful. Whereas when you're working with the body, your body can just handle more. So like there's this invitation to like do what feels good. Like on the skin of the face, we don't be like, we're not just like, oh, do what feels good. Because someone might, crazy red mark like on their third eye or whatever. And it's like, that's not good for the skin of the face. But like where you have these large muscles and these like workhorse muscles of our body, you can just do what feels good and like give yourself that TLC, that massage. You'll notice like, wow, I have a lot more stuff on my left side than my right, or you kind of get to know these things about your body that you might not have known otherwise.
And that's what I'm realizing just by doing this. Cause here I thought, I'm pretty advanced, I know, but I did not know how to use it. So I was literally doing it threes, like did not keep going, had thought this was so that I held it properly when I was going up my hand. I had no idea.
Yeah, so it's every edge has like a different twist that it adds. And I encourage you to experiment because what feels good for me, again, unlike facial gua sha, it's like we don't have to be as technical with these tools of like how we hold it, the angle, like all the things. Like it's just about what feels good on the body.
Love it.
So you can really take extra time in the areas that need TLC. And I should also say, if you notice that you have like a pain and ache, or you don't have time to do this full ritual, like you can pick little pieces of it out. Like if you're just dry brushing, or if you're like, oh, I need some wash up, but I'm only going to work on my IT band today because I only have a little bit of time, or whatever it is. I just want to mention, like, you don't have to feel like you need to do this whole thing every time in order for it to be effective.
Right.
Yeah. So then we would move to the arm.
Uh-huh.
And again, I'm gonna like use this little edge because it really hugs these like bonier structures of the body.
All you hear on mine, FYI, is crack, 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 crunch, 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 crunch.
Oh my gosh. For anyone who's on a device a lot or a computer, this muscle, they get so tight. This feels like heaven. So you'll notice I pause there because it feels good. And I'm like, oh, I need more of that. So
and you can see, well, I don't know if ever, like, you probably can't see it that well, but you can see there's like little bit of redness, but not like bruising, but where am I going?
There's some redness, there's some pinkness, not everyone's going to have like the bruise effects. And I sometimes really go for it because I'm trying to like demo that. Like sometimes I'll do that on my upper arm. I get a lot of tightness.
Right. So you can use this. You can use this one really on the upper arms to really.
This is an area that I get a lot of like bound fascia for whatever reason. And so I use the wavy edge because I know how do you test if your fascia is bound? Here, I can easily pinch the skin away from the muscle. You get up here and I like can't, it's stuck. There's some stuck
on her, not me, guys.
There's some stuckness there.
Oh my God.
So
it's like so sore. It's so bad.
I know it's sore, but like this is where it gets red right away.
Yep.
You can see that coming up.
Guys,
very easily.
You guys have to get these. This is incredible. Like,
it feels so good.
My massage therapist is not going to see me so much because.
Well, truly, in a time where like we haven't had as much massage, like, I'll switch to the little comb edge.
Now are you sweeping towards again the lymphatic, right?
Yeah, I'm sweeping up because anytime you're going down, you're pushing blood in a direction that's just like more challenging for your body to then get going back.
Now, is it important, like when you're doing this, to continually drink a lot of water, etc.? Because this is a lot of, I would assume, detoxification.
Yes, thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking at my water and going for it.
I know. I noticed like I forgot mine, and I'm like, it's in the other room, but yeah, it's like drinking water. You want to just like get it. It's just like if you had a massage. So then working on the other arm, going right to where we need it.
Oh my God, my whole body needs this. What inspired you to decide to come out with the Aura collection?
I felt like it was true. It was true to the roots of the practice, right? Like facial gua sha has been around for a long time, but also like not that, it's like relatively new. Like if gua sha is like 4,000 years old, facial gua sha is like it's hard to trace because we really don't know as much of like her story, so to speak. Like, were they using facial gua sha? Like, it's written in the texts in as like a treatment for fever,
Wow.
releasing heat from the body. It's really good for respiratory conditions, ironically. It's good for, in the upper back to like clear the lungs. This is what it's like documented and written about. So we don't know really the inception of like the use of gua sha for the face. And when we came out with this like beauty line, again, it was like from the neck up. And there's like so many benefits overall, not just for health and wellness, but for beauty. It really effectively addresses some of like big skin concerns. Like cellulite's a huge concern for many people. Even though we all have it, it's completely normal. It's like we're still beautiful with our cellulite.
Right.
But like this does help. And like with our understanding of the lymphatic system, and fascia is the other thing that people are hearing a lot more about. We wanted to offer something that addresses these systems that are, really important and like really make a difference. Like when I do this on my legs, and then if I'm wearing shorts, which isn't happening that much even in California winter, and then I'll look down and be like, wow, like the texture of my skin looks like so smooth. It looks it's healthier. It looks more.
Well, yeah, that's
brighter.
the whole purpose. If you think about, for your face, the texture, the smoothness, everything tone, same thing for your body. So we just got a question that says, what makes your tools unique or different than any other of the dry brushing gua sha tools out there?
Yeah. Well, first of all, our tools are patented. They're designed with these like things in mind. They're created from beyond stone, which was created when a meteor struck a mountain in China. This is one of the original pillars of Chinese medicine, is this stone. It has a measurable ultrasound pulsation, a measurable far infrared wave. That's what the tool is made of itself. And then this wavy edge, again, is like very unique. The size of it is perfect for fitting in your hand and really like getting a lot of the surface area of the body. This, I forgot to talk about like this awesome tip, which we thought was really important because like if you have a spot that's really acting up, again, I'll go back to my IT band because that's my spot. Or like, that's right where you have a knot, that's right where you have like a dimple in the leg. You can take this tip, put it right there, and just go back and forth and work in that.
And I'll just also point out that oftentimes, because I'll be honest, I've purchased other gua shas prior to having Wildling's tools, and most of them are not. Well, a lot of them, if they are quartz, are not sustainably. I don't want to use farmed, but honed.
Yeah.
And they're sometimes they're often colored glass. They're not even the stone.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting that you drop these on the floor, but by accident, because it has oil, they're not breaking. I can't even tell you how many times I put down the other ones on just my countertop and they've just snapped. These are actually this beautiful stone. And as you said, the Beyond Stone, they're native to the practice.
Yeah, they are, and we do our best to like, it's not a porous stone. It's not a stone like a lot of the crystals that are over mined. Crystals are like very mined. They're very like trending. Beyond Stone is mainly used for, it's not like a sexy looking stone in the raw. So it's not mined in the same way that crystals are.
I think these are pretty sexy.
Yeah, I know.
And then what about your the brush? What makes your brush?
Oh my gosh, we were just like, we want to create a beautiful brush that's made with plant fibers. So this is a Tunisian olive wood hand carved brush, and again, sustainably farmed. And these are agave plant derived Tampico bristles.
Because a lot of them make boar's head ones.
Yeah. And we wanted plant fibers. We were like, we want the vegan products. And so the agave plant, because of like the durability and because of the fact that it doesn't like carry a lot of bacteria, it's like a very clean bristle. That is what makes ours unique. It doesn't like look like a lot of other dry brushes out there. It's really comfortable to use. I've used a lot of them, and I just like really love the way this feels because it like fits in between the fingers and it's like just the perfect size.
I was literally going to say what I love about it. Now I'm, as if I didn't already love it to begin with, now knowing all the efforts that went into from sustainability and being vegan, but the way you hold it between the fingers, it's almost like a pop socket, like literally, and we're all used to those, but that's exactly what it feels like versus how I have my whole hand in a thing or with a brush. And for someone like myself who struggles with rheumatoid arthritis, having a wand is not a comfortable brushing experience for somebody who has those kind of issues. And this was something that was introduced to me for specifically for my RA. So I find that this is so much easier for me to control as well, like just the strength of it, the strokes, etc. So
Yeah.
and it's
Thank
beautiful.
you. I'm glad that you like that. That's good feedback because I also find like just ergonomically, it's like
Yeah.
easy to use. It's nice to use. And so that is our brush. And yeah, and I think our stone's just really special because of the education that goes into it. Again, like the reason that this really works on the fascia is because unlike this, like this is going to make contact with the surface of the skin and the tissues at the same pressure point for the whole edge. Having these like irregular edges means that it's going to like pull more in some areas and leave some areas less pulled. So that's what breaks up the fascia.
And that's why by using it over and over, you're getting different places. Okay,
Yeah,
so
you're getting
we've
different
got,
places. And then I like to work on the breast.
so you do the breasts with this.
Yeah, yeah, I'll do the breast with this. I always do the breast.
Don't worry,
So
guys.
it really just depends. Like, okay,
Now, do you do it with this?
I use both.
You do.
So I kind of sweep over the breast. You're being like gentle. I'm not like really getting in there, you know.
Right.
And then I'll use this wavy edge over and under. And I'm always just like sweeping towards the armpit. But it feels good too because those pectoral muscles are big muscles in the body and they don't get a lot of love. So
No.
the pectoral muscles keep us, you know, shoulders forward, which is really not great for the posture. So I also like to use this little edge again and get into the chest muscle here.
Mhm.
It hurts so good.
I go to a physical therapist and it's always right in here because you don't realize your posture, your core, we're not typically using it the way we should be and breathing. Actually, we often breathe from our chest, not our diaphragm. And so we hold so much over here, which is why I never even thought to use the stone. And I'll be honest, I've been using the wand.
Yes, that is also great. All three of our stones are great for the pecs and the chest.
Yeah. By the way, guys, this is their facial wand.
It's
I
really
can go on and on. Listen, if things don't work out for me at Indie Lee, I might come over to you guys as a salesperson.
Come on over. We love you. We are happy to have you. You know what? We just need to, you at least need to come to California for a spa day. Once we can do that.
I love it. And you know what I think is also very important is, like you said, like Gianna said, we're sweeping over our breasts, but we really do need to, I mean, not to give a PSA for breast exam, but this is just another way to connect and know your body and then know when something is not the way it's supposed to be and doing something for that. And that's why I think, again, the dry brushing, you might not feel it, but this by sweeping over and getting to understand and know your body shapes
Yeah,
is so important for breast health and your overall health as well.
exactly. Like breast checks aren't just for breast cancer awareness month, you know, and
No,
like, and
no,
that's
this is
generally
a
where we're
regular
like
thing.
figuring a lot of that. And I'm like, I need to be like reminding people to do this on a regular basis because
It's
it really is so good.
important. It's so important. And I'm going to also say, like, I know that's a very scary thing and people get very nervous to do it because if they feel something, they automatically think something negative. And so often there are fibroids, there's fatty tissue, you can have believe it or not, you can have fatty breasts, all those things. It does not mean just because you feel something that it isn't ominous, but it does mean you need to get it checked. And early prevention is key. And that's why I think using a tool like this as part of your routine is going to help you connect with your body on that deeper level. You know, I can go on. I think that's so important.
Yeah, I agree.
Ooh, we got another question. Do you feel like gua sha and dry brushing reduces the forming of wrinkles / keep the skin looking young over the time?
Yeah, 100%. Because again, like a lot of times, like wrinkles have to do with fascia
Mhm.
and the way that like the fascia holds the skin in these patterns. And over the time, if we're having like poor posture, poor facial posture, even, we make ourselves like more prone to patterns that can cause the skin to sag and wrinkle. And, you're also increasing the flow of chi and blood to the skin when you're doing this, whether that's on the surface through exfoliation and oxygenation or, lymphatic drainage. But like, that's one of the reasons that like massage actually keeps us alive for longer.
Oh, I'm going to live forever then.
I know, right. Perfect. Yeah. It's like one of those things that's like good for longevity is regular massage.
I completely agree. And I will tell you from personal experience so you can YouTube it. Gianna has been and Wildling has been so generous with their time, and we did a live facial gua sha class, which was amazing. I mean, wait, you guys should see the transformation. And everyone laughs because I was so excited about it. But I use this like right in here, and I can see the difference. And again, it's because you're breaking up the muscles they're so used to going into that direction, like let's call it muscle memory. So you're changing that and you're building new muscles and breaking down the fascia. And I've seen such change and just the circulation in my skin as a result.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like
Yeah.
circulation, opening the blockage, all of that's going to be great for skin texture, for wrinkle reduction, like all of these things. Absolutely.
This is to
Um,
me a true beauty tool. And let's not forget, this has been around for thousands and thousands of years. There's a reason,
yeah.
and it's because it works. So I
Yes.
hope that answers your question.
Yeah. And gua sha is also like a folk technique, which means that it was used by doctors for very specific health concerns, but it's safe and easy enough that this is something that, if you grew up in like an Asian country, it's like that your grandmother would do to you, or even an Asian culture in this country, this is something that like your grandmother would do to help you, um, or your mother, or, it's like a tradition that's passed down because it's like fairly accessible to the everyday lay person. I want to
And
get
I'm
to
all about an ounce of prevention.
exactly. So I want to make sure I realized I didn't get to like the trunk. So
No, I think that's also really important.
yeah, we did. We
Gianna,
got
tell
to
them
the dry
up the
brushing,
right
but
and down the left.
yeah, up on the right, down on the left. This follows the flow of digestion, and you kind of sweep around. And then once I've done that, if there's like some areas of my stomach that I want to work on, it's like I promote the flow of digestion, but then I'll kind of like I'll mix it up depending on what like my body feels like it needs. Sometimes I'll just like work more on that tissue,
Mhm.
especially I have a 2-year-old, so like postpartum, I felt like that felt really good to work into, that whole abdominal wall that carried a
Yeah.
child. So, and just like revitalizing.
I wonder if
The
it's too late for me, since mine is now
thing.
17 that
Never
I
too
carry.
late. Your
Might have
body's
missed the boat on that one.
and then I'll work like, my back is a spot. So I work up on the back and
Oh my gosh, this I think is going to feel so good. Everyone who's watching, they're like, "Oh, I want one of these." You guys, I cannot stress this enough. It has been a game changer for me, truly a game changer for me. And this is the only tools that I have that I still have because all the other ones broke. They were probably glass.
yeah, they can break. Our tools can break too when they're dropped hard enough. But
Yeah, let's not test it, everybody.
yeah, let's not test it. But yeah, I'm quite clumsy and I have yet to break a tool. Although my
Knock on
2-year-old has
wood.
like chalked one, like thrown one into the road before.
How do you clean the tools?
Great question. Great question. So when I'm a professional, I haven't been working on a lot of faces lately because of the obvious, but I'll just give you my professional rundown. For the everyday person, it's like soap and water. Soap and water. I put a washcloth in the bottom of the sink because I can be like clumsy.
Me too.
And so just in case I drop it. And I'll use like skin friendly soaps and water.
Perfect.
And when I'm in the office working on people, I'll use skin-friendly soap and water, and then I'll put it in a container and pour boiling water over it. That's like another level of sterilization. I just have like a tea kettle that I put water over it, and then I clean the tools with alcohol.
Got it.
And
so you can use alcohol on it to wipe it down, etc.
Yeah, you can use alcohol on it. When I'm using it at home, I don't, because it's like I don't have like as many breakouts as I used to when I was younger. I just feel that my skin's like fine. But if you are concerned about that, absolutely.
Got it. Great.
You can sterilize it. The tools. Another reason we chose this stone is because it's not too porous, so it doesn't like carry. It doesn't like hold a bunch of stuff in any sort of like cracks and crevices of the stone, which can sometimes happen with like the crystal tools. If they have like a little notch or something, not all of them, but if they have like a little flaw where that kind of bacteria or skin cells can hide. But yeah, that is our.
I wash mine. So this, because I'm rubbing it on my face, I will say that I wash like after use, because I'm having an oil, I'll just wash it under like warm water, like soap and water. But and anybody who knows me knows Spa Day Sunday is the day I clean all my makeup brushes, whether I use them or not. It's just my routine. It actually feels really good. Just, I don't know, water cleaning. Yeah. And then I do like a thorough clean of my tools as well, like just longer. I don't know why, considering I clean these pretty much every day. But how does one clean the brushes?
Yeah, so the brushes, the way that they're designed, the great thing about the Tampico fibers is, again, it's not going to store a lot of bacteria. And so the recommendation is to just clean them with warm water. You can use like pretty hot water, and then just dry them bristle side down.
Got it. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Right. So someone just asked, I noticed you sell body oils. Yes, sure. The 3 body oils that we have, which are the sleep body oil, the energize, and the de-stress, they're all the same base, which is marula. You've got jojoba in them. You've got almond oil. Like they're just a beautiful decadent, but they're very light because you can spray them. And then we have different scent patterns in them. So the sleep has lavandula, lavender, and vetiver. So very grounding, perfect for kind of easing into sleep. And we have the body wash that matches that scent collection. Then you have the Energize, which is the bergamot. It's got mandarin, it's got citrus blends in it, very uplifting. And then the de-stress has like the eucalyptus again. It also very grounding. So those are them. And then I know you guys have some too. So I'd love if you shared those as well.
Yeah. So the way that ours are designed is really like we have like a seaweed activator, and then we have an oil. So the activator is almost like a body toner, and they work together. Our products are really specific towards like maximizing the benefits of gua sha. So they have a lot of like circulatory effects and ingredients, and they're whole plant infusions. And I was gonna say, like after you've done this ritual, it's a good time. You could like, if you're doing like a more intense like body treatment, you could then apply like a body butter or something like over the top.
Yeah, this is now, so we have the whipped body butter. I keep this, let me see, just to give you guys an idea on like how thick. I don't know. It is like a decadent. I mean, it is a decadent butter. I liken it to a hug. It's like a blanket warm hug. But after I do this is like what I put on, and I love to just do it like before I go to sleep, and or on my feet, my hand, your elbows. But right now I even have one at my kitchen sink because I'm constantly washing my hands.
Yes, I feel that. And I was like really loving playing with your products in preparation for this, because I really feel like the one thing I forgot to mention too is like you could use the dry brush and then shower and like use the exfoliant. And if you're wanting to do like, this would maybe not be like an everyday thing, but it's like if you want to really treat your body, you could like settle in and do like a whole 30-minute routine where you do the dry brushing, use the exfoliant, use the oil, do the gua sha, then put like the body butter. Like just, you're going to be probably like too greasy at that point to like wear clothing. So you can just
exactly, like get into your bathrobe or your pajamas. But you know what? We're not going out, right? We know that we're not going out like we used to. Why not create this experience of self-care? I always say, and Gianna, you know this, to me, self-care isn't just in the lotus pose going om. It is an entire process of how do you take care of yourself? Sometimes that's reading on my, on my sofa. Sometimes it's a glass of wine. That also can be self-care. Sometimes it's, hanging out on Zooms or calls with my friends, but sometimes it's taking that half an hour, and that to me is my spa day, right?
Yeah, exactly.
My facial mask. I'm obsessed. Our coconut citrus scrub was the first product I actually ever formulated. And I formulated it because I had such terrible rheumatoid arthritis. I was on a form of chemotherapy and my skin was so dry, so dry. I looked like scaly. And everything I tried for scrubs was like oil and then the sediment at the bottom. And I wanted something that was kind of solid and not a death trap for me in my shower. And that's literally how I came up with the coconut citrus scrub.
Yeah, and it's so lovely. So, I just wanted to give that a little plug too.
Thank you. I always forget. I'm like so into this and people are like, yeah, but you have products. I'm like, okay, they know, but let's talk about this.
Yeah, but I love a scrub and I think that it's like, exfoliation on the skin, circulation, like all of that, just like it adds like an extra something to add the exfoliation treatment, like when you're in the shower.
And to me, the scent is like otherworldly. Okay, I have a question. Can you use this on your neck and how do you use it on back?
Oh yeah. So all of our tools are neck friendly. I again go straight for this edge, but you can use any of the edges and you'll just like go from the hairline down to the shoulder. But that is
feels so. What I notice is the amount of tension I have.
Oh yeah,
take note, team. Tension.
Yeah. So that is a great last icing on top is like just making sure you're working at the neck. I usually like throw the neck into facial gua sha. So thanks for reminding me because it's like for anyone who's like really interested in the body practice, maybe you have like the body stone, like don't forget the neck. So
what about the back too? Do you just go down like you would?
Yeah, it's like I was kind of working either down or up. It kind of depends on what works best ergonomically for you.
I feel like having a partner do this would be great. As long as it's not too hard.
I know. I mean, like in my acupuncture office, I have no one in here to drive my back with it, but
I'm by myself in my home office. Okay, someone just says, how do you use your coconut citrus scrub with a face towel or bath gloves? Oh, that's a great question, Yvette. So we have a little scoop, but I just take a scoop out and in the shower, when my skin is moist, I literally just slough it. I don't have a technical term, but like massage it into my skin, my entire body from neck down. This is not to be used on your face. It is truly a body scrub. You are using sugar crystals, which are definitely not something that you should be using on your face from neck down. You can use it on your lips, right? To exfoliate your lips, especially now that so many people have chapped lips, but neck down. And then what I love is after you rinse it off, you don't really need anything after because it's just the jojoba and the coconut oil are so nourishing for your body. You really don't need too much in terms of a moisturizer afterwards. That's like my and I use that probably 2 times a week. I noticed we were going through it a lot in our shower and I said something and it turned out my husband was using it every day. I'm like, I think you're over exfoliating. That's a little excessive. So I use it 2 to 3 times a week. You're very welcome, Yvette. And again, not on your face. And yes, if you use it with like some people like to use it with those gloves, the loofah-esque gloves, you can do that. Just, you probably don't even need to. Fun fact, I actually grow my own loofahs. It is not from the sea. They are actually gourds that grow in a garden. And so, but you don't need it when you're just using that. So little fun fact there. Most people didn't know. People always think loofahs are from the sea. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What other questions do you guys have? I want to try to keep this as tight as possible because I know it's late for some of you there on the East Coast, but any other questions we're happy to answer. Both Elizabeth and I put in the different discount codes for each of the site. So you can use Wildling 15 on ours. You can use Indie Wild 10 on Wildling. I cannot stress to you enough how these products have truly changed and upped my skincare and self-care game. Um, and I will tell you, these are an investment in yourself, right? So some people go, oh, I can find some of these less expensive. There is a significant difference in these. But like you said, they're not as porous, so they're not going to, you don't have to be as concerned about germs being trapped, and they just last so much longer. And I mean, they were made for I love that you're using the Beyond Stone because that's what it was intended for, right? This is what they've been using for years.
Yeah.
How long do the bristles on the dry brush last? How long until I should replace the dry brush with another one? That's a great question because I don't ever do that.
Yeah, I mean, we launched this product last year, and we've been playing with these dry brushes for like over a year. I've had the same one. I haven't had any issues like with it thus far, so I can't answer that because I haven't had like a period of time pass at this point that we've had to replace it. But I would say like, you're good for like 2 to 3 years with that.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I think the important thing is if you're taking care of it, um, I've rinsed mine, hoping that it was okay to do. So glad that I know that's fine. But even the other dry brushes that I've owned, I still have, and dry brush every day. Like that's part of my experience as well. And then what I love is like for the wood, because I am also have like oils and stuff. So after I'm done with my body, etc., I kind of oil the wood too, just to keep it nice and soft and in good condition. So I think with tools like this, it really is how you take care of them. But I've owned dry brushes for years, truly years. That's a great question.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. What do you use to wash the gua sha stone? So Marguerite, I had even asked that one. You can use, as Gianna said, you can use warm water and like face safe soap with these, and you can use alcohol to wipe them down. I on my facial one, I make sure that after a use, I always wash it. And I tend to actually wash it down a little bit before I use it, just because God only knows. And I'm literally going like this onto my face. So I think it's really important to make sure you are absolutely washing, especially the face ones, um, before and probably after every use. So be careful.
Yeah.
No problem. That's why we're here to answer questions. I love this stuff. Do you have extra videos, instructions on gua sha techniques for both the body and face?
Oh my gosh, that's all we do. That is all we do. You can follow us on wildling_beauty, at wildling_beauty.
I'm typing it into the chat, guys.
Okay.
And that's for Instagram.
Yeah, and on our website, you can go to our tutorials page and create an account and see our tutorials there as well. We're also on YouTube. We're trying to TikTok. Like, you find us as many places as there is to look. We're always putting content out. So
yeah, and I would say in addition, this will obviously go on YouTube, but I noticed if you follow them on Instagram, there is just so much incredible information within their feed. Truly, truly so much information on just various different uses and different techniques and different areas that you can hone in on how to use all the tools. Can you tell I'm a fan? I would seriously, I might be a groupie.
It is mutual, and yeah, I just again want to say thank you
Oh
for
my gosh, my
having us
pleasure.
and this collaboration. It's so great to sit down with you from across the country and have this like casual
I
innovating
know. I
out.
know. Well, people are voyeuristic and watching us.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I hope that everyone learned something today and feels a little bit more comfortable trying these things at home. And please, DM us if you have any questions at all about anything. You can email us. We are here. We're responsive. We will help you. And thank you again, Indy, for
No,
this.
thank you. I cannot wait till I get to visit you again in person for spa day. And everybody who got to come to this, thank you. Doing these are so important to me because for me, it's not just about our products. It's really about educating on just the importance of self-care. So I truly appreciate everybody who signed in. Like I said, I will make sure that this gets edited and then put onto our YouTube. And I'm sure we'll be taking some snippets to share as well. But the most important thing is really just take a look on their site. You will fall in love and you will have absolutely no regrets. I promise you. I promise you. Oh yeah. And if you have any questions for me, you can always DM me. Thanks, Paige. I'm always like, yeah, enough about me. Gianna,
Yeah,
thank
thank
you
you.
so
Thank you so
much.
much. Have a beautiful evening,
Thank you.
and we will connect again soon
Absolutely.
on Clubhouse or otherwise.
Yes. And stay safe, most of all. All right,
Yes,
everybody.
thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Gianna.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.